So let's work through 15. Zoe's Bakery operates in a perfectly competitive industry and has standard cost curves. The variable cost at Zoe Bakery increases, so all the costs except fixed costs shift upward. The demand for Zoe's pastries do not change, nor does the firm shut down. To maximize profits after the variable cost increases, Zoe's Bakery will blank its price and blank its level of production. So will it raise and increase? Will it decrease, increase, raise, decrease, or do nothing to and decrease? Well, if costs are going, this is a perfectly competitive industry. That's a really big highlight. Let's lower that down a little bit, so aggressive. So it's a price taker. And so since Zoe has no control over the price, she'll simply have to decrease her level of production. So the answer has to be D. The slope of the total cost curve is, well, this is a definition we've already talked about, and it's just marginal cost. If a perfectly competitive firm is producing a quantity where marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, then profit is maximized, can be increased by increasing production, can be increasing by decreasing production, can increase by decreasing the price. Again, what's the magic words? Perfectly competitive firm. So say it with me, price taker. And so D is wrong. A cannot be because that's when MC is equal to MR. Remember our how much decision making. And does it want to increase production or decrease production? Well, you want to decrease production, right? Because it's costing you more than the benefit you're receiving. So the answer here has to be C. If a perfectly competitive firm is producing a quantity where P is less than MC, then profit is, well, remember, again, what are we dealing with? Perfectly competitive firm. So in this, MR is equal to price. And so again, MC is greater than price, which is equal to MR. So MC is greater than MR. Well, we said it's going to decrease production, so it has to be D. They're really the same question. In 19, in the short run, a perfectly competitive firm produces output and earns economic profit if price is greater than ATC, if price is equal to ATC, if price is less than MC, and if price is less than ATC. Well, they need to do what? How should they produce in the short run? Well, to be in production, we care about when ATC intersects MC, right? And if it's equal to price, well, that's the profit maximizing point. So you most likely would want to be above it And so the answer here will be A. Because here's the, let me just correct something. Here's the break even point. Zoe, the owner of Zoe's Bakery, determines that at her optimal level of production in the short run, price is less than ATC and price is greater than AVC. So in the short run, Zoe should do what? Continue to operate even though there's economic loss. Continue to operate because she's making an economic profit. Shut down immediately because she's taking an economic loss, or raise the price until she maximized her profits. So we're given two pieces of information. Since price is greater than the average variable cost, well, that means price is above the shutdown price. And so she'll operate, but she's having economic loss. So the answer here is A. But the reason there's economic loss is because price is less than the average total cost. And so price is less than the break-even price, which would give you zero profit. The lowest point on a perfectly competitive firm's short-run supply curve corresponds to the minimum point on the ATC, AVC, AFC, or MC. And the answer is B. It's the AVC. So this looks fun. We're dealing with a graph. So there we go. In the figure above, if price is P1 and the firm decides to produce at output Q1, then the firm earns a loss equal to A times B, or I'm sorry, AB times Q1. It gets CA times Q1, BC times Q1. So, or is it zero? Well, we're here, price is intersecting marginal cost, but it's below, right? P1 is below average variable cost and the intersection of average variable cost and the marginal cost. And so you're going to have a loss of C A Q times the Q. So you'll have a loss here. Let's use this is an ugly green, so we'll use it. So the answer here is B. Okay, so we have a graph again. A perfectly competitive firm in the short run. The firm's total cost of producing its most profitable level of output is B S D K 0 F K D, 0, G, L, D. Well, the firm will be most profitable. Let's see what's going on here. So go 0 to F, go out to K, and go down to D. And we get this rectangle, right? So let's see what's happening here. The firm's total cost of producing at its most profitable level is 0, 0, F, K, and D. Because why is that? Let's hold on for a moment. So we're looking for the total cost of producing its most profitable level. So its most profitable level is D. And so this is cost. So C is our answer. Suppose that some firms in a perfectly competitive industry are earning positive economic profits in the long run, the blank. Let's see what's happening here. Is it industry is in equilibrium? Industry supply curve will shift to the left. The number of firms in the industry will not change, or the number of firms in the industry will increase. Well, in the long run, the number of firms will always increase. Because they see other people are having success, and so they'll want to join in. In a perfectly competitive long-run equilibrium, all firms make positive economic profit. All firms produce at the minimum point of their average total cost curves. The industry supply curve must be upward sloping. All firms face the same price, but the marginal cost will vary directly with the firm's size. So this one's just B. They'll produce at their minimum point of the ATC curve. Which one is correctly defined? Well, MC is wrong. It's not the change in TC over the change in FC. It's in the change of Q. ATC is equal to AVC plus AFC. So looks like C is the only one. D is also wrong. A is the blank cost curve. So which one are we dealing with here? Is it average total, average variable, marginal, or total? And it is the marginal. So it looks like C, this one is average variable cost, average total cost, and marginal cost. If marginal cost is equal to average total cost, well, average total cost is increasing, average total cost is at its maximum, or is it at its minimum, or is marginal cost decreasing? And so We've talked about this in a couple videos, but it's at its minimum. So we're given 4 panels. Let's read the question first. All other things unchanged. When a good or service is characterized by a relatively elastic supply, as shown in panel blank, a greater share of the burden of the excise tax is borne to who? Well, let's see which one of these is the most elastic here. And so remember, to be perfectly elastic, you're a horizontal line. So it looks like panel A is our answer. And it's going to be the buyers that take on most of the burden. So the answer here is A. And if you want to see how, let's see if I can zoom in on this. It's hard to zoom in. So here's the price, the tax, and you can actually calculate the incidence. So this part here of the tax is the producer tax incidence, and this one's the consumer tax incidence. Accounting profit differs from economic profit because of the differences in the manner in which revenue is calculated. Economic costs include explicit cost. Accounting costs do not. Accounting costs are generally higher than economic costs because accounting costs include explicit and implicit cost, while economic cost only includes explicit. Or economic costs are generally higher than accounting costs because economic costs include all opportunity costs, while accounting costs only include explicit cost. Well, remember, economic profit is accounting profit minus opportunity cost. So the answer here is D. Don't worry, we're almost done. The market for blue jeans figure is what we want to consider now. The government recently levied a $10 tax on producers of blue jeans. What area or areas in the graph identify the tax revenue? So let's see what's going on here. Levied a $10 tax. So and I want to see which part of the thing. 20 to 45. So the supply curve will shift up. And this is our new intersection point. And so if we're selling the jeans at 50, the producer's getting 40. And so the tax is going to be this area here. So the answer is B. Areas B plus D. When marginal cost is below the average variable cost must be at its minimum, maximum, falling, or rising. And it's falling. Again, just more definitions. As part of an anti-obesity program, the government levies an excise tax on high-fat foods. We expect consumers to pay almost all of the tax if the demand is blank and supply is blank. So if demand is inelastic and supply is elastic. Remember, the more inelastic party tends to pay the tax. Is the story of that. Given any downward sloping demand curve for a good, the more price elastic the supply curve, the blank equilibrium output will fall, and the blank will be the deadweight loss when the government imposes an excise tax. So if we're imposing an let's see. Here's Q, here's P, here's demand, and we'll make a relatively. So say you increase this because there's an excise tax. So looks like, let's draw again, more elastic, keeping demand still the same. So here's what a perfectly elastic, and so it increased. So it looks like the more equilibrium output will fall, and the larger the deadweight loss will be. So B.